Morning. I just thought I would do a very long overdue update on how I am. As you can see, my hair is growing back. I'm still in chemo. I've got a few little bald patches, particularly on this side, so I try and bring it down that way. Yeah, I'm still in chemo. I'll sort of recap on what's been happening. So since last February, so it's just been pretty much a year now I've been doing this. I was diagnosed with stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma, and it was HER2 positive, which I didn't find out straight away. They thought it was going to be negative, and it wasn't. It was positive, which is more aggressive. From there, I went straight into chemo. I had the EC to begin with, the red chemo drug, which my body couldn't tolerate at all. I was very, very ill, and I was quickly switched out from that because the side effects I had were absolutely horrendous. I had every side effect known to mankind with that one, and I just doing that again wasn't an option for me. My liver function went off a scale with it as well, which they were really, really concerned about. So I was given a little bit of a break, and then they put me on to the carboplatin and Septin, and I was still getting really bad side effects from that. Mainly diarrhea. I had a lot of diarrhea, and I couldn't eat properly, and I just felt sick all the time, and yeah, it was very horrendous, really. And then I did 9 rounds of that. I was supposed to do 12, but I only got through 9 because of the side effects I was having, because for some reason I seem to get all the side effects. I've now been declared hypersensitive. Anyway, I did 9 of that, and there might have been another drug that I've left out. To be honest with you, I can't even remember, because my memory has been shot to pieces with all of this, and how it's affected me. So I did 9 of that. I don't know how I got through that, but got through it. Then I had an operation in August to remove the tumour, which had shrunk a fair bit with the chemo, thankfully. But unfortunately for me, when they removed the tumour, there was still nearly 40% of live cancer in the tumour. Excuse me, my lips are really dry today. They're really dry today. So the cancer was still alive when they took the tumour out, even though they said, "Oh, you're all clear, you're all clear." Well, no, you're not really. So then I had to have radiation. They gave it you get a good sort of month between the operation and the radiation, because obviously, you've got to heal a little bit before they do that. So I had 9 rounds of radiation, and since then, I am now on Kadcyla, which is what they call immunotherapy. It's a combination of Herceptin and Kadcyla. It's more targeted, so it's not one that sort of affects your immune system all the way around. It's more targeted to that specific area. And they've told me I've got to have 14 rounds of that. I've had 4 of that so far. So all in all, I would have had 23 chemos by the time this is all finished, which I'm praying is going to be finished in September. To my calculations, that's what it is. I've got a breast scan in April. I've also got to have regular like heart monitors as well, like, because obviously with this one it affects your heart muscles, weakens your heart muscles, so I have to have regular every other month like a heart test to see whether like I'm still strong enough to do it. Let's talk about Kadcyla. Okay, so Kadcyla is supposed to be the easy bit. Is any of this easy? No, not really. Not for me anyway. The first one they did was over 90 minutes and I didn't have a reaction to it, which was great. You know, I had no reaction. They don't give you any pre-meds with it, or they don't prescribe pre-meds with it, because most people get through it all right. But by the time I had the second and the third one, I had what I can only describe as like huge like adrenaline rushes that were going through me, which, because I suffer from an anxiety disorder anyway, I think it exacerbated that, and I just panicked, and you know, I was frightened, and they then advised me to go back on the steroids, basically, which is what my oncologist didn't want me to do. She didn't want me to go back on the steroids. She was like, oh. But the last treatment I had, I took the steroids beforehand, and again I didn't have a reaction, so it looks like I'm back on the steroids until this is over, basically. So I have to take the steroids the day before, and then the day of the infusion, and then they give me an antihistamine as well, and then they give me an antihistamine when I'm having the infusion, so they have to leave me alone for a little bit before they can give me the infusion, so the antihistamine works. Got a lovely bruise, I don't know if you can see it. It was bigger than that. All this area here was black. But fortunately my veins have been good so far, touch wood. That was clever, wasn't it? Sorry. That was clever. Right, okay. Yeah. Oh God, I forgot what I was saying now. You get a lot of this. You get a lot of forgetting what you're talking about, and yeah, your brain just is mush, basically. Side effects. I do find with this that the side effects are they go on for a lot longer. I wouldn't say they're almost immediate, because obviously now I'm back on steroids. I'm only going for my last one, is that I didn't feel too bad the next day, but they do go on for a lot longer, and there's a lot of bleeding. Like, I get a lot of nosebleeds, my gums are bleeding all the time. your whole body just hurts. What I find the most frustrating is the exhaustion. I just feel exhausted all the time, which I really, really have to fight off. Yeah, your body hurts, everything hurts. My walking capacity is, well, I mean, in my earlier videos I was trying to walk like at least sort of 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day and getting outside, but I've apart from the fact that I can't do that really anymore, I've become a little bit agoraphobic really, as in I just don't like being around people. I don't like being outside around people who, you know, when you have to interact with people and say hello and they say, because obviously where I live, you know, people are really friendly and, you know, they want to say hello and, you know, I just, I don't know, I think it's just me, really. I prefer to be in my own little bubble now, really. I'm just, sorry, all I really want is to just get through this. I just want it to all go away, you know. Just want to feel normal again. And see, I'm not the sort of person that just gives up. I mean, I'm not one of those people. It takes a lot for me to give up on something. You know, there has to be a real trigger for me to give up on something. You know, and I'm finding it hard to keep pushing through. You know, and I decided a few months ago that, you know, I wasn't going to go back to any kind of work until this is all over, because mentally, physically, I don't think it'd be fair on them, to be honest, you know what I mean? Plus, I am paralysed from here to here, like as in I can't feel anything. Since the operation I can't feel anything under there, which may or not be may or may not be permanent, according to my surgeon. As I had lymph nodes out as well as the tumour, and I've still got no feeling. It's like 6 months later, so I don't know whether maybe it's too early for me to say that. I don't know. But the Kadzyla, I mean, they say it's the easy bit, and a lot of people, it is easy for them. You know, they get through it, and it's nowhere near as what they were feeling before. How people get through the EC bit, I don't know, because that knocked me off my feet, basically, knocked me sideways. So if you've got through that, then well done you, you're doing well, you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard, but all of this has been really hard, for me anyway, because I was always working, always busy, always, you know, I live on my own. I've been on my own pretty much all the way through this journey. I do have family that are there. I don't see them much, I don't hear from them much, but they've got their own lives, you know what I mean? So I don't bother them. I don't like to bother people. I've always been a bit of a fairly, excuse me, not bleeding today. Oh no, he's a little bit. Yeah, I've always been fairly independent, really. For a very young age, I've always worked and always had a fairly full life. And I think with cancer, it's like it just puts a complete break on everything that you know to be true. It's like some like hand of God comes down and says, no, stop. You got to stop now. And like this is like a huge challenge that's put in front of you, sort of thing. And it basically it's like how you deal with that. You know, there was a lady that commented on something that I'd commented on, and she said she's got 2 young children. She's doing it on her own, and I was, she's a fucking hero. She's a fucking hero, seriously. Like, you know, I mean, I'm doing this on my own, and it's hard enough, you know what I mean? Like, especially when you are really sick, because you've got no one you can sort of turn to. I've got no one in my vicinity that I can turn to when I'm really sick. But how she's dealing with that, I mean, all the love to her. She's a fucking warrior. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. Wow, it's just like, I don't know how people do that with children. You know, I hope to God most people have got like a really, really supportive partner or a really supportive family or someone close that they can rely on, you know, a friend or whatever. But yeah, doing that with young children is phenomenal. Yeah, I can't really get my head around that really. I still wear my hats. I've got one here somewhere. I don't know if I'm sitting on it on that side there. I still wear my hats a lot because the other thing I found is I don't really look in the mirror anymore at myself. I mean, I'm not saying I was the best looking woman in the world, but I was, you know, bad looking for my age, you know, and I used to sort of do a lot of looking after myself in that sort of respect, and, you know, do my hair and what have you, and I just got that. I look in the mirror now and I don't even know who that person is anymore, you know, don't know who that person is. And it's really hard to deal with. You know, I've lost a lot of strength inside myself since all this has been happening. And I just keep praying to God, you know, just get me through this, you know, give me the strength to get through it. You know, and I pray for that all the time. Because that's really all I want now, really, is just to get through this and come out the other side and try and find myself. Yeah, again. You know, it has made me stronger in a lot of ways because it's made me sit with myself, and I don't think a lot of people sit with themselves. You know, they're so busy all the time, so, you know, like I was, you know, you're so wrapped up in your life and what's going on, and your family, your friends, your this, your that sort of thing, and you don't sort of sit back and sort of think about you, basically, and how you're feeling about life, you know. And it's made me do that. It's made me come to terms with a lot of things that have happened in the past, because I've had a lot of bad situations in my life, which I've managed to get through eventually. And that in itself made me stronger anyway. So, but when I got cancer, it really threw me. It really threw me, you know. I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? It's just like, wow. You know, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to say. And I was just in shock. I was in denial actually for a long time when they first told me, because when I first found the lump, I didn't even think it was cancer then. I really didn't. I was just like, oh, it's just a cyst, or I'm imagining it, I was just in complete denial, and then when they told me, and I was in the hospital, my eldest son who took me, they told me, and my son looked at me and he went, well, we kind of expecting that, weren't we, Mum? And I looked at him and I went, oh, yeah, sort of thing. And I told it together. I told it together because my son, I don't want him to worry or see the shock or the pain, or I didn't want him to see any of that, because whatever mum I've been, how they view me, I've always tried to be strong for my children. I've always told them to be strong, and really installed that in them, that they have to keep fighting the good fight, basically, do you know what I mean? And I didn't want him to see me in any kind of pain. Not through weakness, but just to protect him, really. I just wanted to protect him. Like, actually, at that point, that was my only sort of fault, was like, don't show him what you're feeling, and it wasn't until I got home that day I just broke down really, really badly. And it's still, to a degree of denial, and it wasn't until I went into my first chemo that it really hit me that this is really happening, so you do, well, people deal with it in different ways. That's how I dealt with it. My logical brain was saying this isn't happening, it's not happening, so I've learned a lot through it, about myself, and has it made me stronger? I'm sure it has. I don't feel that. I don't feel that strength. As I perceive it, I perceive my strength in a different way. But yeah, I'm sure it has. Anyway, so I'm sure you're sick of me going on. So I'm not close to the end. I can see the pinprick of light that maybe this could come to the end. It'd be interesting to see what comes up on the scan in April. The hospital will be amazing. All my oncologist, all the nurses, surgeon, everybody really. They've been on it since day one. They've been a fantastic hospital. They're fantastic. You cannot fault them. And I raised some money for them initially when I first got diagnosed. Through when I was on Facebook, I gave them. I put up, when you do that. This is a charity I want you to give money to if if you're giving to my birthday, whatever. And I raised over £250, so I was quite proud of that. I'm proud of the people that contributed to that. And it's just giving something back, isn't it, really? So am I in a better space since this started? I can face it now. I'm still kind of like, this isn't really happening, kind of, little. But every time I go in for treatment now, I face it. I'm on my own when I go in there. Pretty much have been the whole way through, really. but I can do it, and you can do it. Is my point, really. You're going to get days, obviously, where you just feel like giving up, and it's very, very easy to think that way. I've done it, lots of hundreds of thousands of people have done it, where they just want to give up, because it's really hard. It's no one, unless you've been through it, you can't describe it to people, like how it affects you on all different levels. I'm certainly not the person I was before this. I don't, like I say, I don't really recognise myself anymore. I just try and look after myself best I can, and carry on. Carry on, as the good old British saying is, keep calm and carry on. Which, I try and do that. Anyway, send you lots of love. If you are on your journey, or if you've just finished your journey, or just starting your journey, you've got this, you can do it. You'll find something inside yourself that will push you through. Regardless, you will do it. It's a huge life-changing thing. It changes so many different perspectives of your life. So many things. Some people carry on working all the way through it. Some people, like I say, who've got young children, they go, and those people are warriors. They're heroes. And if you are doing that, then well done you. I don't feel like it. I've always worked, but I did actually, for me personally, in my own personal perspective, just think to myself, I can't, at the moment, it's been a year now, and I can't do that, I can't, until I get through the rest of this, I just can't, I can't. I'm not going to. I actually refuse to do that because, I need to focus on me now. I need to focus on me, and I need to focus on just getting through it. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I did sort of take down all the previous videos that I put up. I did sort of go to a point where I just thought, is this helping? Is this not helping people? Me describing it, do they really want to hear that? No, because it's such a personal journey. Some people don't want to hear anything about cancer. They don't want to look into the whys and the wherefores of it all. People just want to just get on with it, or they're in so much turmoil they can't face it, or it's everything is just so personal. You can't judge each person for how they're handling it or what they're doing, because everybody's going to feel different about it. It's such a major life change, literally. Obviously as well, depending on what kind of treatment you're getting, and there's a lot of people worse off than me, loads of people worse off, hundreds, thousands, millions worse off than me, and sometimes I watch other people's little videos of how and I just cry. It just makes me cry, and my heart goes out to all those people. Anyway, so I may well upload some of my old videos again. I've still got them, so we'll see. Anyway, take care. Lots of love. Bye.